at the end. So, right, welcome, guys. Hope everybody's well. It's Sunday evening, Sunday the 26th of July. So we're just gonna have a little bit of a roundup, obviously, what to expect on on market open. So one thing that I always stress to everyone is that we I don't trade Asian Open on a Sunday evening. All right, wanted to obviously get this out of the way early, and I want everyone to understand why. So, each week, market opens on a Sunday. All right, and we have got plenty of time. All right, we've got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All right, those are our core days. And what I used to do in the early days, I couldn't wait for 10 o'clock, or obviously the gold market opens at 11. I couldn't wait. I was really impatient. I wanted to trade, and the goal is, that the only reason why I don't trade is one, spreads are crazy high. All right, every single broker just turns up their spreads because there's no one proper is trading. It's just the kind of luck seekers. So that's obviously one reason why I don't trade on Sunday evening. Other one is I like I always have done. I like to obviously instill a bit of patience, in the beginning of my week, so I like to kind of be a bit hard and say, right, you know what, market's open, but I'm going to watch it. And the bonus that it gives you is leading into, we're going to wake up tomorrow, all right? And we are going to then be able to obviously have watched what has happened during Asia. Has Asia been active? Has it not been active? Because lots of times nothing can happen, and then we know probably seven times out of ten we're going to have a very active London. All right, and I'm going to show you something on gold which everyone's going to be able to implement. And I spoke about it in the boot camp, spoke about it on a few lives, and it's just the will give you that extra confluence, that extra clarity that if you just don't trade Sunday evening. So I think it's a complete waste of time. Yes, you're going to have those nights where you're going to smash it, you'll be done for the week before you've even gone to bed, but I reckon those nights are going to be like 1 in 20. And if you look at it on the reverse, scale, if you go all in and you have blown your trading account before the even week has even started, trust me, I've been there. It is the worst feeling ever, the worst ever. So, but that's why I tend to stay away and stay away from Sunday evenings. All right, so we're going to have a bit of a roundup. We have had a bit of de-escalation. All right. So for those of you who are, new here, you have to understand, we've obviously got, if you imagine all the, usual kind of, macros, all right, which are obviously here coming out, and obviously we're going to go through those, all right. But at the moment, we've got this massive black cloud here, all right, huge black cloud, and it's Iran and the US, the Strait of Hormuz. All right, if you haven't watched my lives, hopefully you've heard about it on Twitter or news sites. But obviously, this is kind of clouding everything. All right, and then because this war revolves around oil. All right, high oil prices mean obviously increased in inflation. All right. And obviously, inflation is bad because when inflation is out of control, every country keeps their interest rates higher because, they can curb spending. All right. No one wants to borrow as much, So it's look, everything's one big, control factor. It always has been. So yeah, but so we had 13 straight evenings of where the US were were bombing Iran. Iran was bombing the, US. We've had 2 nights off. All right. So there is a little bit of agreement. There's a little bit of talks happening. It's supposed to be directed, at the, Strait of Hormuz. Let's face it, everyone wants it open. All right, trade comes through there. It's important trade. That trade, slowing. It's also you got to think about the, shipping companies who are actually, you know, delivering this trade. They've obviously got to pay more for fuel, more for insurance. It's dangerous. It's everything, and so the whole kind of world needs that open. Now there is no agreement in place. There's no direct, talks been kind of publicized yet. I know that obviously there's a visit from Trump from not Zelensky. I always forget his name. The Israeli leader. No one likes him. Begins with N, I think. But yeah, he's going to the US. So obviously that's going to be important too, because hopefully what I would like to kind of happen is that Trump curbs everything. He calms him down. He calms everyone down. They just get this over and done with. All the trading wise, it's been brilliant because obviously, markets have been active. They've been quite easy to understand, especially this last kind of week. But obviously, we want it over, because it isn't, it's not nice, And so anyway, that is so we've got potential de-escalation, happening here, So sorry, I'm just gonna switch my phone off because it's irritating me. Someone's trying to call me. There we go. Right. So yeah, so we've got obviously de-escalation. Yeah. Now that's gonna have an impact on, the dollar yields commodities, so off the back of that, it's also going to have an impact off of, yen too. Our pairs that we trade, our intraday pairs are Euro USD, GBP USD, USD JPY, AUD USD, and gold. All right, and so it's going to impact all of these. All right, so that we're going to have to wait and see what happens here. One of the interesting ones is going to be oil. Right, if my page loads, there we go. Right, oil to me is going to be an interesting one because there's no agreements, because nothing's been publicized. Although we've had 2 nights without any attacks, I'm expecting oil to probably drop potentially to 80, but I'm not expecting it to drop below. All right, because no one really quite understands. I'd be expecting, yields to drop slightly, potentially anywhere from kind of this area here. That is the worst rectangle I think I've ever drawn. There we go. So somewhere around here. I mean, I like to obviously put in, expectations here, but I do expect, a slight drop here. Um, and then we've got dollar, which is going to be interesting. All right, we're already kind of trending to the upside. If we're looking at this here, it's obviously trending, pretty nicely. Um, so I'm kind of expecting, if I get rid of some of this stuff here, I'm kind of expecting it to probably stay in around this area where it is. All right. Now, we don't know how markets are gonna perceive what is happening. So I feel like I'm gonna sneeze. Um, so we've got to kind of be open and aware of what potentially might happen. So gold's the only tricky one here, because de-escalation, should obviously reduce this. However, what we might see happen is gold do something like this where it's got a reduction, but then people start putting some more, money into it because it's a, a safe haven. So that's what we might expect to, to see happen. We've got to be aware of that too. So I think it's going to be a tricky market open to call, and off of that kind of, expectation, I'm actually expecting Asia to be pretty, slow. All right. I'm expecting dollar to potentially strengthen, slightly. So I'm expecting. Oh, let me just go back. There we go. So I'd expect, potentially euro to drop, pound to drop, Aussie's gonna stay. So yeah. Right. That's, now obviously we've identified the, big black cloud, which is obviously driving everything. Because one thing that you might be a bit confused about is, obviously all the data that we're getting through, all the high impact data, know when it is. It's from June. All right. This war re-escalated early July. All right, so remember all this is old data. We've had pretty good data from everywhere. We got inflation cooling in June. Yeah, jobs have been good. Unemployment rates have come down. So one thing that we've got to be a bit aware of is that obviously all of this is June data, yet everything escalated in July. All right. So it's it's really, really hard for, well, it's, a bit harder to kind of think, right, what are the big boys going to be doing here? What are they going to be, looking at? How are, banking, systems in the, US, Europe, Australia, UK, how are they going to going to kind of act, and where are they obviously going to put their money? Are they going to be putting it into sort of safer stocks? Are they going to be still buying yields and oil? How kind of worried are they? And we've been judging this pretty well. If you look at our kind of, month, it's been brilliant, especially last week. We've got one more week left. We've not had a massive, we've not had a losing day yet for June. So, we're obviously gonna have to, yeah, wait and see. Sorry, July. So we're obviously gonna have to wait and see how we end up. Right. So. Monday, straight off the bat, all data. We got durable goods. I don't think that's gonna, move markets. Then we got some Atlanta GDP expected to come in same as it was previously. We then got some inflation data for Japan. We've got OPEC meeting. We've got some employment data. Um, We got some HPI, not really worried about that. Consumer confidence will be interesting. That is obviously July. So that'll be interesting data. We've obviously then got inflation data for Aussie, and then we got an interest rate decision. Now, I might go live on Wednesday. Where am I Wednesday? Yep. I will go live at probably 7:30. So I'm not interested in this. This is obviously what's gonna be, written here. I'm really, really interested to see how he's gonna speak. All right, because we obviously had, for those of you who don't know, we obviously had a new chairman of the Federal Reserve, Kevin Walsh. He's a lot more aggressive than Jerome Powell. This is obviously his press conference number two. And his last one, he was very, very what they call hawkish, which is optimistic, bullish, and he keeps his cards, very, very close to his chest, So I'm really, really interested. He obviously what he's going to say about the labor market, about inflation, and about this war, and how he's going to act off the back of it. And so I will go live on Wednesday. It'll be 7:30. I'll play it obviously while we're live, and obviously we can then speak through it and have a look at obviously how things are, moving. But I'm expecting, yields and gold to probably move pretty heavy on Wednesday. So that's obviously what we're gearing up for. After that, we've then got some GDP for euro, unemployment rate. Then obviously we've got an interest rate decision for the UK. UK is, slightly different. We've got, nine members, so lots of it is about, if anyone's changed, why have they changed, so that's obviously quite a key bit of information too. Um, I'm expecting a few to want to, hike. So that's what I'm expecting is probably, it's expected to stay, 7-2 unchanged. I wonder if this might change, and it might be 6-3. We've then obviously got more US data here. And then we've got an interest rate decision for Bank of Japan. It isn't going to change, but again, we're obviously interested to say because for those of you who don't know, I bang on about this all the time. But obviously, Japan are big importers, especially of energy, and obviously they import a lot of oil. What is it? Oil priced in US dollars. All right, and if we look at USD JPY on a monthly, it hasn't been at these highs since, I think I said it before, 1986. All right, so that's 40 years ago. All right, it's not been that expensive. It's really expensive, So what Japan do is they are probably one of the main holders of US government bonds because it's a way of them hedging against their currency. But there is, a potential intervention coming, but obviously it's not come yet. It's still flying to the upside here, so yeah, we're gonna have to wait and see what happens. So what I tend to do is, we're pretty active, but obviously it's a very, very US dollar active week. I actually think this week's going to be a bit tricky to trade. We're going to have a very, very calm Tuesday, a calm London session, well, and US, session Wednesday. Everything's going to be gearing up for obviously this, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And then Thursday and Friday should be a little bit easier. So that's my kind of expectations here. But so looking into obviously what we have got going on here, and obviously I'll go through gold last. All right, so USD JPY is screaming higher. All right, we've cleared the highs that obviously we had early July. All right, completely cleared. Do I think this can continue? Sorry, early July. Yeah, July, July last 24. So yeah, these highs here we've cleared. Do I think that a move like this is coming? Yes, it's kind of in a territory at the moment, USDJPY, where you don't really want to trade it, all right, because it could carry on screaming higher. But obviously, you've always got that kind of worry that these moves here can happen. So just tread very, very careful trading it. Aussie here, we're kind of stuck in a bit of consolidation here. We've been trapped in here for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days. So look for obviously breakouts either end. If we do, then we're going to be looking first kind of target will be this area here to the upside. Second target will be these, lows here. So just obviously be wary of those. GBP USD here, kind of in a bit of a tricky one this because we've kind of got a nice area of support here. So it's going to be quite interesting to see, what happens here. Are we going to continue to the downside here and potentially come and tap into either this area here or these, lows here? Or, are we gonna kind of creep up to the upside and obviously let it take over? But it's been, trapped in a bit of consolidation for a while. Um, Euro, yeah, I just don't like it, at the moment. It's kind of been moving a little bit slow. You could argue that we are a bit consolidating at the moment, but obviously it's got to clear through this. But the only worrying thing is the next kind of major area of support is quite a way down. So just obviously be a bit wary in regards to, that one there, that if we break, we've got a potential to drop what about 150 to 200 pips. So just be a bit careful there. USD JPY we've gone over. Right, gold. Gold is the interesting one here. All right. So big because obviously the oil market and the yield market's taken over. Gold hasn't really been trading, how anyone's expected, normally and obviously mostly of your amateurs, escalation, you buy gold, all right, and maybe 9 times out of 10 they're going to be right, but obviously not in this kind of instance here, right? 100% it in a downtrend here. We got the probably the most lowest of lows. We've got them here, right? The only worrying thing is, and the reason why I think that might hold is because our next low is about here, and that's way low. I can't see gold breaking that. So it's quite a way. I'm expecting gold to carry on doing what it's doing here, where it's again, just moving, sideways here. Right, I don't think there's going to be that much investment into it, but I don't think there's going to be that much investment out of it either. I would imagine most of the money held is being held, where it is now, or it's old holdings, so it's a long-term hedge. And that's what gold is. Don't think gold it is a tradable asset. Yes, we might intraday it, we might scalp it to make money, but anyone buying it properly buys gold as a hedge and a hedge only. They don't look at it as a tradable asset. It is a hedge only. That's it. All right. And so, you've got to think, long term. Obviously, if you look at gold on a monthly chart, yes, this year's been horrible, but overall, it's flying here. But then also, what no one realizes because maybe they don't understand, everyone's speaking about gold because of this rapid move here. But if you look at stock market, the US 30 stock market, now, now it's crazy, right? So would you rather buy gold, right? And have this impulse move here, but obviously we've dropped massively this year. I mean, if you think about it, I think January was here, so obviously we had this pump here. We had about the 13,000 pip pump, and then now we've had a 16,500 pip dump. Yeah. But obviously, if you look at the, stock market, so from January, there we go. Look at that. Just straight up, all-time highs. All right. So, so crazy crazies. So right, gold, one confidence that everyone can add. We'll obviously add a gem in for those of you on the boot camp. You will understand this. So, two ways you can do it. You can either use the 8 hour or you can go onto a indicator trading sessions. Yeah. All right. So if you go on to the 8 hour, or we can go on to the 2 hour, it might be clearer. All right. So when you have, let's do, yes. All right. So when you have a slow Asia, yeah, I don't like this. So I'm gonna do the 8 hour. All right. Here we go. So we have got, 11 o'clock Asia, London, New York. Yeah. All right. Now, this doesn't happen all the time. Feel free to back test it, but add this into your confidences if you're trading gold. If we have a slow Asia, all right, and I mean, let me get a proper circle on it because that's not working. So if we have a slow Asia, yeah, right, London or New York should be large, all right, but also if we have a big London, 9 times out of 10 we have a small New York. All right. Same thing here. Small Asia, big London. What does New York do? And it tries to pop up but trades within London. All right. Now, on the alternative, if we have a big Asia, all right, like we did on Monday, right? London and New York trade within them, themselves. Yeah. So it's relatively easy for you to gauge. Right. And so, for example, if we got a 2 hour and we're going to look on Monday, where are we here? No, not July. So we're on a 2 hour time frame here. Right. Monday's here. Yeah. All right. We have had, a nice big, was that right? What am I doing here? Thursday, Friday. Yeah, so that'll be classed as a big pump. All right, cool. So if Asia, let's just go back on an 8 hour because it's not. I wanted to show you an example here. So let me just replay this. Continue. Oh, leave. Why has it gone to Bitcoin? Right, we're going back. Hold on. Bear with me, guys. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing a million things. There we go. Right, so this is a big Asia, right? Right, nice big Asian trading here, Monday. Right, we've got on gold, we've got Asia has moved here. It's moved nearly 700 pips, yeah? All right, so what we want to do, all right, is basically mark up your Asian high and mark up your Asian low, yeah? All right. So then we're obviously pressing our play, right? What we're expecting is for these to kind of be valid. All right. So, there is a very, very slim chance that London is going to go back down here unless something major happens. All right. Chances are, like always, we're going to come back a tiny bit, but then continue. But we're going to continue kind of slow. Yeah. All right. That is what we are expecting. All right. So, if you press play, right? You can see here, that's exactly what has happened, yeah? So, not a lot happened, yeah? All right, so remember, gold only has one big trading session during the day. Unless there's a news event that you can't control, but if even if we look here, small Asia, all right, small Asia, big London. New York tries to break down but ends up trading within London, yeah? Right, small Asia, big London, New York tries to break up, ends up trading within London. Yeah? You know, the same thing here, big Asia. All right, this must have been some kind of this is obviously market open, all right, when we obviously had that escalation. All right, huge Asia, you know, London hasn't really traded too big, you know, if you look at the actual volume, that is the, volume there. We've tried to pipe up, but even then, because we've had such a big Asia, we are not ever going to pump back up. So all you want to be doing is looking where to sell here. Yeah. All right, you know, then obviously Asia's on. All right, so just, really pay attention to it because it's gonna really help you. Right, I'm sorry, my dog's barking. Right, let me feel free to ask me any questions. I'm obviously happy to help. What time zones are those events? GMT, yep. But what have we got here? Sorry, Dan, we'll have to watch this again. Terrible Wi-Fi. We love your intraday, and you've mastered lower time frames. What's the source and influence to take them quick scalps? How do you do it? Well, I write obviously everything in, so look, however you're trading, you've got to be, strict. And I just think gold is relatively easy. Yes, it's a bit harder when we're doing this, but even if we're moving, sideways, all right, if you identify a direction that you want to trade in, yeah, all right, so say for example we're gonna buy, all right, which is what we did on Friday, yeah. Right, we bought. I'm gonna get rid of this. Right, so we bought on Friday only. Yeah, right. Friday was from say here. Yeah, 7. All right. So all you've got to do is identify where is the best places to buy. So any dips or anything, you can be looking to buy. We do this on intraday, we do this on, lower time frame too, so you've got to identify any kind of, places. I'm not doing anything, magical here. Right, it's just, just identify. I mean, I normally do this all by eye, where prices, struggled. Now, our lower time frame trades, right? We only need a move like this to be happy. Yeah, that's 50 moves, one or two of those a day, you're going to be happy. All right. So just that's obviously my lower time frame. Intraday's, slightly di 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 different. What we do with intraday, all right, is you want to identify the direction. I say this every single morning. All right, so using the dollar, using yields, stock market, macros and commodities. Before we even hopped on any other chart, we will know, right, you know what, say for example, we're looking at it right now, we might, say hypothetically, dollar is trending to the upside, so we're going to buy it, all right? But we're not going to be buying it from here, yeah? We're going to want to be buying it. We're going to want the dollar to come down a bit, yeah? All right, so we're obviously hopping on JBP here. We, know that we want to buy the dollar. Yeah. Right. So all we're going to identify is roughly where we want to buy it from, and it might be from this area. It depends how aggressive you want to be. It might be from here. or you might want to play really, really, safe. I mean, it probably won't trigger, and obviously, uh, buy the dollar, and sell it obviously here. So, but obviously, remember, yeah, for us to, for the dollar to kind of drop down into the area that we're after, that means it's going to push up, yeah. All right, which is what we want. All right, just because we're buying the dollar, it doesn't mean that we're going to buy it straight away, right? Because we want to buy it from the best price. All right, we want to increase our probability. All right, so it might be that we identify, we get rid of this area because we don't like it, we get rid of this one, and it might be that we're like, right, you know what, we're going to go for 3-3. I don't know, 600 to 800. Yeah. Right. We're going to go for something around this area here. All right. Hoping that GBP USD will pop up here. Yeah. And then we can trade off of it. All right. So we might be looking at, 70 pip stop, 35 pip TP, one to two. All right. But remember, guys, majority of you guys are obviously in a circle. I do this, I lay it all out, I explain everything, macros, everything, and I do it all live every single morning. I'm planning the trades out, everything. So, and I'll be doing that tomorrow at 8. So, does anyone have any questions? Any more questions? Camille, which risk management approach do you think is better for intraday trading? I currently risk a fixed percentage per trade rather than using a fixed lot size. Yeah, I mean it's totally up to you. Gold is always going to be high risk, so I always tell everyone to under risk on gold because it's the only asset that I get. I don't think I've ever had anyone message me and say I blew my account, and I'm like, one, you're a USD. No one's ever said that to me ever. It's always been gold. So I always acknowledge and I always say to everyone under risk on gold. All right, you have to be trading whatever you're trading currencies on, you got to be trading 10% on gold. And the trouble is on gold, everyone gets overhyped, they over risk, they blow their account, and then they're like, "Oh, I've done it again," So we want to try and stop that from happening. Does anyone have any more questions? Any more for any more? Otherwise, we'll end it here. And yeah, I hope everyone has a great evening. I'm totally new, Dan, but this is so informative. Thank you. No problem at all. Right. I'm going to end this here. I hope everyone's enjoyed it. If you are, new, feel free to obviously drop us a, message. If not, then yeah, watch the channel for a couple of weeks. You'll obviously understand. I do this every single day. So yeah, yeah. Right. Everyone have a great evening, and yeah, let's smash it. Have a good one, team. Have a good one.